Hello everyone, this is your host Irsa Khalid and you are watching this program by DiploTV. Today we have a very special guest today with us who has just received Tamgha Imtiaz, which is the highest civil honor of Pakistan. He is a businessman and the philanthropist. Now let's talk with him and get to know about his personal journey, about his future endeavors and what does he do. So let's get in discussion with him. First of all, congratulations for the highest civil honor and award, Tamgha Imtiaz. Tell us about your personal journey, where did it all started, and what is your background?
Thank you so much for the introduction. So obviously, I was born in Pakistan, and almost 25 years ago, I was studying in a college and decided to move to UK to seek better opportunities. Obviously, as a young teenager, I had a lot of dreams in mind, and at the time, I thought maybe it'll be wise to seek migration to UK because it'll possibly help me achieve my goals. And when I was around 17, 18 years old, I wasn't a very common young man you would come across. I was very passionate from the start and very eager to grow and achieve things, not necessarily towards money, but generally to achieve the goals. So I moved to UK, and when I got there, I realized that there's a lot of fantasy around going to Europe, and the moment you land, you probably strike a treasure, but it wasn't like that. And so I started looking for a job because I obviously needed to survive. And eventually I started working in a restaurant as a dishwasher. That was my first job. And so I worked there for almost 3 years, lots of hard work where I was asked to not only do the dishwashing, mopping, floor cleaning, generally making sure everything is kept clean, bathrooms. And then eventually I was promoted to be working as a chef within the same restaurant. And from there, I started looking towards probably building my own restaurant one day. And in 2005, we opened up our first restaurant called Spice Village. And since then, we never looked back. Alhamdulillah, that worked out to be such a success for us that we kept on opening more restaurants, got into the events and catering ventures. Later on, opened up our own hotel brands. So we pretty much got a grasp of the entire hospitality business within the UK. And that's how the whole journey started, and that's where we are right now.
I would say a very humble beginning and a very motivational and struggling, you can say, life and journey. Why UK at first? Where did you get that thought that I should move out from Pakistan and this is the right time to do it? And of course, for clear your bills and all, you had to begin with this job. But when you were in Pakistan, what clicked, that I should move from here? And secondly, what was the biggest challenge when you landed there, and how did you cope up with it emotionally and practically? What steps did you take?
Yeah, I mean, see, look, like I said earlier on, while growing up, we were part of a very humble family, and we were 5 siblings, and I'm the youngest one. And I was very close to my mother, being the youngest child. And I used to see a lot of kind of wishes which my mom had, my family had, which we could not fulfill. And we thought, and I was thinking while growing up that, one day when I grow up, hopefully I'll be able to play some part in terms of uplifting my family's current situation. So the passion was there pretty much as soon as I was about 11, 12 years old. And so while growing up, I was looking around. There's a lot of friends around me who were almost doing nothing. And I've seen some people who are into their late 20s, even late 30s. They're not earning enough. So even at that early age, I realized that if I stay here and probably adopt one of these opportunities, I'm not going to go far. And therefore, I have to look at some bigger opportunities, bigger moves where all of this potential I have can be capitalized better. So, as you're very young, you don't think that far, but
Yeah.
all I wanted was to probably look ahead and probably seek better opportunities. So, that was probably the actual burning fire within myself that kind of motivated me to make a move towards UK. And you asked me about why UK. Obviously, I had my brother already in the UK and some of the other family members. So it was an obvious choice because UK, now that we look back, I realize is such a tolerant country. And English being our second language is probably
Yeah.
the second destination you look at, because if you go towards Europe, you struggle with the language. There's so many language barriers and other stuff. So UK was probably a top choice at the time, and I've seen a lot of people moving to UK for a better career. So obviously it was my obvious choice. I didn't even try to go any other country apart from UK. When I got in there, I was pretty young, and my biggest challenge was obviously uh, learning the language. That was
Yeah.
the most important thing. And then obviously, because I was in college when I left Pakistan, I didn't have any degree, or I didn't have any kind of skill. So when I got there, I realized that if you don't have the skill, if you don't know the language properly, you have to struggle a lot. And that's what I exactly did. That I worked in a very low-end jobs, which I'm very proud of. But when I look back now, and if new youngsters are listening to this, I always tell them, try and learn something. Because when you leave your country and go abroad, even UK, USA, America, and you don't know any skill, you don't know the language, you don't have any experience, it doesn't really help. And then you can fast forward your progress if you have learned something, even in your young age. Try and learn something. Don't waste your time around, because what I've struggled, the challenges I have faced, obviously I wouldn't want any newcomers to go over and face them. So obviously, eventually, by working hard, working with the colleagues, I learned the language, and eventually things started becoming easier. After a few years, I managed to open up my own business. So it was part and parcel of hard work, passion, dedication, which helped us overcome all the challenges I faced. And now we look back, I feel absolutely proud of whatever I've done, because now at this stage of my career, I feel that there's nothing which I can't do. And all those hard works which I've put into my
So
businesses.
my question to you is that did that young boy used to think the same way that one day I'll go this far and I'll achieve all these things? Because now you have achieved and you have got that confidence that there's nothing that you can't do. But that, in that situation, those circumstances, self-doubts, all those, things, what were your thoughts and what
So
was your mindset at that point of
yeah,
time?
so I mean, you could relate me to any young teenager around in the country, in Pakistan, and I was one of them. The only difference was that I had an extreme passion inside me to go to the next level, and obviously I couldn't think that far, that eventually one day I'll be able to get this far. But all I knew is that if I carry on working hard, and Allah has been very kind, that a lot of the time you plan things that don't go your way. But alhamdulillah, all of the hard work we put in has paid off by us achieving all the success in our businesses, in our careers. And now those thoughts which were in the mind were surely not taking us this far.
Yeah.
But we can easily say this now, that if you work hard
So,
and
yeah.
just carry on doing what you're doing, you can get somewhere.
So hard work is the key, basically.
That's it.
So, apart from food, what are your other interests?
So
Maybe cricket, because you on a
yes,
team.
yes.
Please tell
So-
about this to our
So,
audience.
like many other Pakistanis, I'm a diehard cricket fan, and always been supporting Pakistan, and Pakistan-India has been always my favorite game. Um, so because of my love for cricket, when I was growing up, I didn't have the resources, not enough to even play, to buy the cricket and the balls. So I was always thinking that, one day when I have the resources, I'll be possibly able to either play myself or get my children or youngsters around me, enable them to do something. So an opportunity came in the Kashmir Premier League where I decided to buy my own cricket team, where I was able to offer opportunities to a lot of youngsters, who go through a very similar journey, who do not have resources, they can't even afford to buy the kits. Cricket is one of the most expensive
Right.
game in the world, and not many people realize that. So through Mirpur Royals, I managed to offer a lot of opportunities to youngsters. I mean, I can mention a few names. Mohammad Abrar, who is currently playing for Pakistani cricket team, was someone I gave him the first opportunity within my team.
That's good.
Salman Beg is currently playing for Peshawar Zalmi. He was defined by my team. And then we have Shoaib Malik and Zamamul Haq and some of the pros of the cricket in the game. So when I look back, I feel very proud of what we have done in the cricket and for the youngsters.
Do you play cricket yourself?
Yes, I'm an all-rounder, so I can
then-
bowl and I can bat as well.
Yeah.
And obviously, I still enjoy playing that.
So, in 2020, during COVID times, when times were hard for everyone, so you started a few philanthropic initiatives, 1 million meals, if I am correct. Tell us about that and why you have chosen to feed people, because there are so many issues, but why this was close to your heart?
So there was another thing I forgot to mention, that while I was growing up, I was being the youngest sibling, very close to my mother. And I remember, despite having very limited resources, my mom always used to donate. No matter how limited resources we had in our household, I used to see her every Thursday. She's able to donate something towards poor, needy. So that values were pretty much instilled at a very early age to help people around us. So not only before even 1 million meals, we've been doing a lot of charitable works and doing a lot of community work to support vulnerable and poor people in there. And there's a lot of misconception out there that the European countries or developed nations do not have poor people there.
Yeah.
But in reality, there's a lot of people around there who require the support. So as soon as the COVID came, there was a news on television that the people are struggling in hospitals, and especially the doctors and nurses who are treating the patients. There are no canteens even open, because when the COVID-19 happened, it was completely dark out there. There's no one out there to support those people. So myself being a foodpreneur, I thought, how we could possibly help them to let them continue, helping the patients who are currently dying, and these doctors, nurses are probably in need of one hot meal. It will just make them work longer hours and probably offer more shifts, more support to those patients. And that's where the concept started. And then I was very fortunate that I had co-founders, my co-founders Arif and Ace and Bilal bin Saqib, who joined hands. And then we started donating these meals towards hospitals, towards nurses.
So do you have a foundation?
Yes, it's called 1 Million Meals.
Yeah.
So we started this 1 Million Meals campaign, and we started going around London, where we were serving to these hospitals, doctors, nurses, paramedics. And then later on, we set up a platform on a website where we were asking if anybody requires a meal, they can send us a request. So we were astonished with the amount of requests we were receiving from vulnerable people, from food banks, poor, needy, also joining the website, even though the website was more designed to offer support to hospitals and nurses and doctors. But afterwards, the need from other people started coming in. So we had no option to continue supporting them. And obviously, the campaign went viral. A lot of celebrities joined hands. A lot of mainstream media joined hands with us, which gave it a great hype. And we're extremely proud of what we did during COVID through 1 Million Meals.
And And what about Pakistan? Which initiatives have you taken? And 1 million meals would come here sometime, you know.
So
Tell us about your future plans
yes.
about this foundation.
Yes, so we've always been doing a lot of charitable works in Pakistan, especially during floods in Pakistan in the recent years. You know, we've been doing within our capacity to support our brothers and sisters. But recently I've decided to launch Suleman Raza Foundation.
Okay.
Now this is for the needy people, for the children who want to read but can't afford to buy the books. This is
Education
sector.
Yeah.
But we're not going to limit it towards education. We're currently offering support to all the needy people, especially in the health and education sector. So people who are sick, they cannot afford to get the treatment done on times. We have set up a very special ward in Central Hospital in Rawalpindi, which is dedicated on my father's name. So all the beds we have donated, the complete ward is donated by, in fact it is named after my late father's name. So this foundation, we have huge plans, inshallah, where we are keen to grow the network, not just in Rawalpindi, Islamabad, but across the country. And we're currently seeking collaborations with some of the mainstream charities within Pakistan. And obviously my mission would be to work within the health sector, to work within the education sector, empowering young teenagers, especially because I always resonate myself with the teenagers.
With that point of your
Yes,
time.
so I think they need a lot of mentoring.
Yeah.
And I see a lot of kids still hanging around in the streets here and there. They lack mentoring right now. So through my organization, I aim to do that as well.
That's
and inshallah,
great.
let's see where it takes us.
You are a successful businessman. You have this wonderful chain of Spice Village restaurants in UK. Of course, if this is this much successful, there must be some secret sauce, some formula. So please share that formula, I would say, to our audience, to those young boys who are lost and want to do something like you. So in foodpreneurship, what is the formula if someone wants to open a chain of restaurants or even a cafe or a small restaurant? What is the formula of making it successful?
So first of all, the food business is one of the most difficult businesses in the world. And if someone has a lot of family around them and they're not able to give it enough hours, it is not for them. It is not for the weak nerves. And only the strong nerved people can get into the food business. So firstly, you need to test yourself. Do you have the strong nerves? Then get into the food business.
Sorry to cut, but are there any misconceptions about this business or myths, I would say?
Yes, I think generally a lot of people think that getting into the food business is far more easier and you can become successful overnight. I mean, I'm sure you would resonate with this, that a lot of people think like this, and especially people who have very limited resources. They think they can get into the restaurant business or the food business, cafe or whatever, and it can work for them. In reality, it's very different. It's very different. It's not easy, and it's a combination. It's like if you're cooking a very flavorful biryani and it requires a lot of ingredients. You have to add spices. You have to put a right amount of water. You have to put it on a dum, and then eventually cook a nice, decent meat, whatever you're putting into it. And then eventually you cook a nice biryani. Similarly, any business, but in particular food business, require a lot of ingredients. So it's not just about having some money and putting it into a small shop, opening up a cafe. You need to make sure that you have all the necessary ingredients. And the most important ingredient is your hard work and your dedication. Right. The most important, because you go through a lot of challenges where you want to give up, and so you got to be prepared. You got to be thick-skinned to get into it. And then obviously you got to find the right place, to make sure you have the right amount of investment, your cash flow. Another important thing, a lot of people don't realize that you don't just need an initial investment of 1 million, 2 million in Pakistan or 100 million or 10 million. But in reality, when you get into the food business, you need cash flow to manage the business. And that's where a lot of people go wrong. They don't accumulate those cash flow figures within establishing a business. And then afterwards, you got to be continuously on top of the quality, You can't just set it up. It's not a formula which you just put into the computer and it will run automatically. You need to be on top of it. Till this day, even now, 20 years in the business, we're still on top of the food quality. We make sure that the food which leaves our kitchen still mesmerize people's taste buds. So it's an ongoing effort. It's not a factory. It's not a mill where you can just set up the machines and some labor staff who could just keep running it. The food business, you have to pretty much put continuous effort and just be on top of it.
Culinary arts basically. In Pakistan, there are very few institutions that are doing, offering these courses. Although there are top ones like Gotham and as a government institution as well. So, do you have any plan to build any institution or maybe collaborate with an institution? Because these institutions are probably not teaching, I would say, that practical,
The real skills.
Yeah, exactly, real skills. So in this, there are very few, and especially they're only in the bigger cities, not in the smaller cities. And B, this gap is huge even in this industry because they're not teaching the students the right skills maybe.
One of the biggest achievements when I look back at my career has been that I've done my best promoting Pakistani cuisine in the UK and Europe. And I've advocated always that our food is far more better than our neighbors in subcontinent. A lot of people don't realize that, but once they've tried it, they really vouch for it. So firstly, we have claimed that identity within the UK, that where people have started to recognize that Pakistani food is far more better than our neighboring countries. Now, secondly, the institutions which are currently providing the skill sets for the chefs and for the food sector, you're right, they're not enough. Gotham is doing a very phenomenal job. I've worked with them, collaborated with them in the past, and even for our own organization, we do reach out to them to help us find the right staff. I think the fundamental problem is that, yes, a lot of people want to be in the food business, but looking at the restaurant food industry is still looked at as a low-end profession. So if you compare it with the parent who wants their children to become doctor, engineers, you would hardly find a parent who would tell you, I want my son to become a chef.
Right.
Now, I think this is where the real education needs to come in.
Yeah.
Because when we're living in Europe and UK sort of countries, we realize that these are very highly respected professions. They're not classified as low end. It's just our misconception. And if you go to a doctor, if you go to an engineer, pilot, which are very highly skilled and respected professions, you talk to them as a chef, they will equally give you that similar level of respect which you can get by becoming an engineer or doctor. So I think we really need to work hard towards building that image and improving that perception that people really need to encourage their children to learn. And one of the key reasons a lot of restaurants and cafes fail is because the youngsters or the people who want to join the food industry do not know the skill.
Exactly.
And all they think is, okay, maybe we'll find the right chefs, we'll find the right waiters, we'll find the right managers. But what if you don't know yourself the actual work? And this is where I mentioned earlier that I'm proud and I'm glad that I've done everything with my own hands, that today I'm not shy of still doing anything for my business. And trust me, this is the biggest asset, biggest skill set I have by doing all those work from the ground level. So once we can get that perception improved, you'll see the culinary industry, the food industry has a great future. Because I think once you become a chef, people still look at them, oh my God, he's just an ordinary chef. But the salary levels you achieve in Europe, UK, Middle East are far more higher and
Absolutely.
pretty much equivalent to others. So I've been an advocate of food industry, being a foodpreneur, that people really need to encourage their children. And even my own children, I am really making them, inshallah, when they grow up, I aim to make them learn from a ground level and present them as role model, as inspiration to youngsters to see that, if I could do it, they can do it too. And look at me, alhamdulillah, whatever we have achieved is through the food business.
So, also, do you think there's a lack of guidance and proper channel for the young people, youngsters who are getting their diplomas from the institutes, but they don't have proper channels where they can do the jobs or internships? And in our country, there is a lack of such platforms to encourage those people, and they can make a career in this industry. Because why just food is treated as a business? There could be a job as a chef, or there should be a proper channel. So your thoughts on this?
It's a billions of dollars industry. And like I said earlier, that in our country in particular, the profession is not highly regarded. And that's a fundamental problem. So you would see the opportunities growing around a model where it's either highly regarded or highly paid. In our country, both are not available. And that's why you won't see a lot of institutions offering services. Whereas in UK, Europe, you would see there are tons of organizations, there are tons of government grants which are available to enhance people's skills to become chefs. I mean, in UK, government offer apprenticeships. They offer a lot of incentives if you are training the chefs, if you're offering them the right training, the diplomas, and the initial level of understanding of the business of the food cooking. So, and likewise in the hospitality, if you want to become a waiter, if you want to become a manager, lead chef, front of the house, lead members, there is literally every level. They provide you training, they provide you the right resources so you can become a significant asset for the company, whoever you work for, and not only for the company, but for your own career. So you're right, there are not many opportunities, not many institutions available, and I think this could be one of the
what
areas.
What are you planning to do?
Yes, this is what I was about to say,
yeah.
that we will be inshallah looking at working within that sector, because this is my own niche area. This is where my expertise really lies, and I really want to motivate people through your channel that they need to promote, they need to provide the right guidance to the youngsters, and make them feel proud.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be feeling, oh my God, I'm just a waiter in a restaurant.
Right.
And I know there are so many success stories in the UK and Europe where people started their career as waiters, and now, mashallah, they're giants of the industry. I know so many people who have started as the chefs, and now they have so many restaurants.
What do you think about food diplomacy, and do food really bring people close, and
100%.
do we close deals at the dinner tables, or in such settings?
Look, food ultimately brings people together.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can't emphasize enough how food has helped us bridge barriers, not only between communities, between countries. And whilst we are one of the lead food businesses in the UK, we operate on a very high level, serving the royal families, 10 Downing Street, Prime Minister of UK events, and some of the other mainstream events. We've learned over the years that when you're representing through food, you're representing your country, and the better food you serve, you're putting a great image of your country, and a lot of people recognize me as the best Pakistani foodpreneur, and this shows that if I was just a foodpreneur, and now I'm recognized as a Pakistani foodpreneur, it's just such a proud thing for me, and obviously for the fellow countrymen to realize that the food has helped us come this far. And then I've seen even the prime ministers and part of the royal family recognizing that how the food, good food, great food has helped them bridge barriers, sort out conflicts, because when you have a nice food in front of you, you can forget your differences. And obviously Pakistani food is one of the best foods, and I have been an advocate, an ambassador, so I always promote that.
What is your favorite dish?
So obviously I like our masala fish, which is one of my favorite. It's a fried masala fish. The recipe is like more of a Colonel Sanders style KFC recipe, which me and my brother developed in the very early stage of our business. And till this day, only me and my brother still
So
develop
you
it.
know
So,
the secret.
yeah, so we know the secret.
You have got all these honors and awards from UK government, and now Tamgha Imtiaz, a huge honor from Pakistan. So, what do you think? Why? What do you think? Why have you? Why did you receive it? You know?
So, look, it's a very interesting question. Basically, I haven't thought about this. Firstly, I think Allah has been very kind. Look, I haven't done anything special. I really don't think I've done anything special apart from working hard, apart from remaining focused towards my goal. And my goal has always been growth. I'm very passionate when it comes to serving the food, when it comes to having the conversation with people, networking, and alhamdulillah, I think with the blessing of Allah, with the prayers of my mum, who's the biggest source of my inspiration, and the hard work, I think I can't name anything which has helped us come this far and earn all these laurels and medals and awards. Clearly, Tamgha Imtiaz is something I really feel honoured to have. I had the member of British Empire from the Queen of England. All of these awards have honestly made me even more prouder to be my own, to be proud of my own identity, which is Pakistani, because no matter how far we go, I will always remain a British Pakistani.
Thank you so much,
My
sir.
pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank
for
you
your
so
time.
much.